It is race 4 of the State New Zealand Ocean Swim Series, La Grande Swim in beautiful Akaroa. Kane Radford in the fight of his life. Alongside of him, Casey Glover, Jonathan Pullen and Henry Norris as they approach the 1.4 kilometre turn marker and make their way back into beautiful Akaroa Township.
Well, this is a big part of the race. This is halfway. So if these guys are tiring now, they've got a lot of work to do on the way back. In a straight line directly back to the beach off the rec grounds here in Akaroa, and Radford starting to take charge of this race.
And good to see Kane Radford deciding that enough is enough. I just wonder whether early on in this race he was somewhat struggling to find his rhythm, struggling to find his form. He's got the nervous system up now and he's really beginning to empower himself.
Well, he started at 16 years old. He won the Harbour Crossing, a surprise win a few years ago. Now 21 years old, out of Rotorua, and 2011 last year won the Australian 5K. Very, very tough field over there. To win there is a huge feather in his cap. So he hopes to qualify for the London Olympics this year, and we wish him all the very best. This race series is all about building his race experience.
And talking to National Open Water coach Philip Rush during the week, I said, look, 2.8k, how does that equate to 10 kilometres? Why take part in this particular series? He said, look, it's getting used to the combative nature of open water swimming. It's getting used to that close quarter competition that you do get. And he reckons it's just brilliant too in terms of developing the speed, which is so important when you get to an Olympic Games.
So another look in the blue cap of Brenda Russell, currently in second place from Auckland. She's had some great performances this season so far. She was third in the series overall last year, and this season second at the State Paihia Classic and third at the State Capital Classic. So she's hoping to hold on or possibly even creep up and take her first win ever if she can get past the young Grace Somerville.
And what I like about Brenda Russell is every Tuesday night at Takapuna Beach in Auckland, the State Beach Series, she's there competing over 1,000 metres. She's there competing over 1,500 metres. And so she's experiencing this open water swimming. She knows that predominantly most of her training is done in the pool, but this is a completely different skill set in the open water. So perhaps what she maybe doesn't quite have in terms of youth and explosive speed like some of the other swimmers, she makes up in experience.
We can see the split of the field here, Mark, where Brenda Russell, I think, which is closest to the boat, we can see here, we've got a big gap over to Grace Somerville here. So they are not swimming alongside each other. It's going to make it difficult. They're not going to see each other. So they've got to just go and push it as hard as they can.
And for young Grace Somerville, just 16 years of age, wouldn't have had a lot of experience in a wetsuit, so that will be something she'll be having to deal with. But this is now a considerable gap at the front end of the men's race. Kane Radford has decided that third gear was okay. He was sitting there comfortably, probably biding his time, and now he has gone clear. He wants to send a message to the rest of the swimmers in New Zealand. And then when it comes to open water, I am the man. Sometimes you might have the measure of me in the pool, but this is my discipline. This is what I was born for.
Well, it's taken a little bit of age to come. He's done a lot of international competitions, and when he first went out there, he was just losing it in the final few hundred metres. But he's proven last year with the Tiburon Mile and the Australian 5K champs last year that he does have the top 2 inches, and he can, because a lot of these open water swims in the world, they come down to the final 100 metres in the sprint to touch that timing pad, and that's what he's got to continue to build on.
Yeah, it's a good point that you do make, Scott, too. Concentration's so important. Very easy to drift, particularly when you find yourself out there in the front by yourself. And so you've got to work through the mental skills, saying, hey, how's my stroke? How am I feeling? Where's the heart rate at? I don't want to back off at any point, because if you lose your concentration, you can lose valuable time. And more importantly, in a swim where it's getting from point A to point B as quickly as you can, i.e. a straight line, you don't want to be zigzagging. You don't want to be going off course.
With Radford approaching the finish now, he'll be thinking of the strategies he's going to employ to get out of the water and into that finish line fast here in Akaroa. And to tell us more about finish tactics, here's New Zealand Open Water champ Cara Baker.
The finish is important when you want to get your placing. Obviously, it depends if you're coming out of the water onto sand. You do have to run, and you do have to do a bit of wading in the water.
Yeah, what is your strategy for when you get to your feet?
Take it basically as it comes. If we have waves and we catch waves, obviously being able to know where you are in the water and how far you are from the finish is really important before you start running.
At any point in the race, are you starting to think about that strategy?
Oh, definitely. When you're coming out to one of the last buoys, you do start to focus on your finishing and picking up the speed, and obviously seeing who's around you. You don't want the person behind you to beat you at the end.
And I guess you don't want to stand up too early.
No, you definitely do it. I've done that many times where I've tried to put my feet on the bottom and it hasn't worked.
Yeah, it certainly is one of the hardest parts of any open water swim, the finish, but this man makes it look so easy. A couple of dolphin dives. Kane Radford onto his feet. He will make history here in Akaroa, winning La Grande Swim, 2.8 kilometres. He certainly hasn't had it all his own way today. Casey Glover, Jonathan Pullen pushed him hard for 1.4 kilometres of this 2.8k swim, but the crowd here to recognise one of the real rising stars of New Zealand swimming.
And a short little trot across the road onto the rec grounds and through the big inflatable finish line. Radford will be happy with this. Redemption for him. Valuable points for the overall series result at the end of March.
And now the battle for second, third and fourth. A very good finish from Casey Glover, and it looks like with a strong run across this very long finish, he will take out second place.
He's been a huge supporter of the State Ocean Swim from Wellington, travels around the country. Great effort by Glover.
Great beard by Glover too, one of the real characters, $750. As we look at, though, our female champion and history being made, it is Grace Somerville, the number 2 seed, just 16 years of age. A remarkable win for her.
Oh, she'll be delighted with this from Ashburton. And she is training for the 1,500 metres in the pool with the New Zealand champs taking place in late March.
And the first of our age group athletes across the line, a great swim from this gentleman. And just behind him in second place in the women's race out of Auckland is Brenda Russell, and that's a very good swim. She swims very much by herself in training at the Takapuna pool in Auckland.
And here's a look at third place in the elite field. It is Sophia Batchelor, the 100 metres butterfly champion and record holder in New Zealand, so slightly out of her comfort zone in the ocean for the first time and opting for that sleeveless wetsuit to make the transition just a little bit easier. So a good swim and a good first debut in the ocean for Sophia Batchelor.
I just wanted to get into a rhythm at the start and just sit there and see what all the other guys were going to do. And once we turned around the buoy at the point, I just kind of took off from there and it felt really good. You know, it's always great to win the first one. It's something that no one can take away from you. Every time I've come to Christchurch, I've actually won it now, which is, I haven't managed to do that in many other places, so it is turning into almost a lucky place.
I was pretty good, just foggy, so it was a little bit hard to see, but it was good fun. Yeah, towards the end I just got a good dolphin dive and waiting and a sprint run up to get the second place.
So far, it's probably the biggest thing I've achieved. I went to the Nationals in Taupo in January and I got third Kiwi in, so that was really cool to do that. And this was really big here to win this.
And just confirming the results in the men's race, it was Kane Radford in a time of 30 minutes and 9 seconds. Casey Glover on the podium and a silver medal around his neck. Well done to Jonathan Pullen, rounding out our top 3.
And a great win by Grace Somerville, the 16-year-old out of Ashburton. She is absolutely delighted with that in 33.20. Brenda Russell in second. And one of the talented age group is Courtney Carson, sneaking into third, just in front of Sophia Batchelor in fourth.
And now we see a number of the finishers in this field of more than 500. Some wonderful stories, and perhaps none better than Lynette Griffith.
It's coming up to 2 years. I had a brain tumour the size of an orange removed out of my head. It was sitting on the pituitary gland, which is right behind my eyes. Yeah, well, I feel so good now. I feel a lot better than I have really for the last 10 years. So it's all to do with setting yourself a challenge, and this was the challenge, you know.
And Lynette, you are a true inspiration, and this event here, La Grande Swim in Akaroa, a wonderful opportunity for the people of Christchurch to take their minds off the devastating earthquake of 12 months ago.
After the last one got postponed, it obviously means a lot to a lot of people, and yeah, it is a bit of an escape, I guess, and some normality gets back into our lives. And I'm sure everybody here, they're not thinking about earthquakes and that out there when they're swimming. That's crossing the finishing line and doing the best time you can do.
And a wonderful initiative from Quantum Events offering a 50% discount for all of those people living in the Canterbury region, and plenty of incentive to get on the start line. Well, the State New Zealand Ocean Swim Series continues. Round 5, the Santa Surf in Mount Maunganui, Sunday, March 10th. And then, of course, the finale, the King of the Bays on Auckland's North Shore. Check out oceanswim.co.nz if you are inspired. A number of events, the Give It A Go 300 and the Step It Up 1000. And what a wonderful inspiration this young man is. Scott Anderson, a Special Olympian, taking part in the Step It Up 1000, along with television and radio personality Kerry Woodham.
Well, I've met some new friends. One was third to last at Pai here. And so I'm hoping to make his day by allowing him to be fifth to last, because I'll be at the very end. So I'm among my own kind.